Welcome back into Rounding Third Baseball, episode 212. The Blue Jays extend their guy. I'm Nick. We have Harrison tonight. How are we doing, Harrison?
Awesome, Nick. How we doing?
Doing pretty good. There was actually a lot of news between Sunday and today, so we're going to get into all of it. But first, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow on Instagram, Rumble, TikTok, and you can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. We also have our affiliate sponsors, Dick's Sporting Goods, MLB Shop, and Lids. You'll find these links to these companies at the tops of all of our socials. You can do your shopping through those links. We get a nice little kickback with no additional cost to you. So just a way to support us and what we have going here on the podcast. So please use those links, and thank you to everyone who has. We also have our Rounding Third store. So you can search Rounding Third Baseball on Etsy. You can support us by wearing t-shirts around, get our name out there. It'd be greatly appreciated. And again, thanks to everybody who has placed orders. All right, let's get into it, Harrison. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. signs a 14-year, $500 million extension with the Blue Jays. Who does this deal benefit more, the Jays or Guerrero?
I think it benefits both in different ways. I think that, and we've talked about it on the show before, I think that the best comparison of Vlad Jr. is probably the Miguel Cabrera contract, where he was absolutely elite for the first, 7 years, and then was basically not better than a replacement player for the final six. This is these big-bodied corner infielders don't usually age great. Cabrera still hit. I would assume Guerrero was still hit, but I think this is going to be one of those deals for the first 7 years. That's a fantastic deal. Guerrero mashes. The Blue Jays are happy. The second 7 years are probably a different story. He's beginning to fade out. He's getting into his mid to late 30s, and by the end of this contract, he's probably a replacement level player at best. So I think for the first 7 years, the Blue Jays win. They've got their man. They've got their franchise cornerstone. He's going to mash for them, and this team's going to be fun. For the second 7 years, he probably wins because he's going to be on the decline. He's probably going to be a full-time DH at that point, and they're just going to be riding out the remainder of it.
Yeah. And how was it structured? So he got a $325 million signing bonus, right? Did I read that correctly? And then
A significant signing. I've seen 325 reported and 365 reported, but I think it's 325.
so does he get the 500 on top of that, or it was the 325 is like dribbled out throughout the 14 years, right? Is that, I think that's what I read. Is that how
Yeah.
it's
So
structured?
the way the signing bonus works is that he gets that money up front, but for luxury tax purposes, it gets spread throughout the contract.
Gotcha.
And what's interesting, and I've got to read it again because the details of this contract are a little funky. But there is some language there saying that a portion of that signing bonus is paid up front, and some of that is actually deferred out over the life of the contract, like you said. But that doesn't make it a signing bonus; it makes it salary. So that makes no sense what they're saying.
Yeah.
Because like Blake Snell took what, almost half of that contract up front.
Right.
He got paid the minute he signed, and then the rest of it gets amortized over the life of the contract. I believe when you say it's a signing bonus, it's all paid up front, and then the remainder of the contract is just paid out over the years that are still around. So I don't understand how that would work if any other way, but it's still a sizable chunk of change to give him up front.
Yeah. I mean, so the way I read it, and I mean, I could be wrong, was like, yeah, he's getting the 325, but like he's getting a little bit each year to maybe like take out the annual value against the the luxury tax threshold. Like I don't know. Like it was worded weirdly for me.
Yeah. What they're reporting is that the contract includes a $325 million signing bonus, and then he'll receive the remaining 175 in salary. What's different though is both the bonus and salary will be distributed in varying annual amounts over the 14-year term of the deal. So they're not treating it as a signing bonus in the sense of paying it out at signing. They're just classifying it as a signing bonus and being able to alter the amount that's paid out of each every year. I don't understand what that actually gets them because it still all gets run out over the 14 years because there's no deferrals and the luxury tax charge is the same.
Right. Whether it's a signing bonus or an actual contract, it still counts against the cap.
Exactly. So it doesn't there's no benefit to the Blue Jays to call it a signing bonus. There's no benefit to Guerrero to call it a signing bonus and then get it paid out over 14 years. So I don't understand the rationale for calling it that. The only thing I can think of is that that may have something to do with how this money is taxed in Canada.
Mm,
And maybe by calling it a bonus versus salary, there's some kind of beneficial treatment to him, the player, that causes him to want that, or for them in terms of what they can deduct. I don't know. Um, it's strange.
yeah, I bet you just hit the nail right on the head. It's got to have to do with the taxes up there, I would imagine.
It,
But yeah,
actually, I found it here. So Vladdy is actually a resident of Florida,
okay,
so he actually will not pay state tax on the bonus because signing bonuses are allocated to the state of residence. That's what it is. So it's the tax benefit to him because he is now a Florida resident. His signing bonus gets allocated to where he lives, not because when you think about it this way, when an athlete gets paid out of their contract, they pay taxes in all the states they play in. It's the jock
right,
tax.
right.
A signing bonus is a one-time deal, and it's taxed based on where you live. So by making it more signing bonus, it gets taxed in Florida with no income taxes. It doesn't get taxed anywhere else because it's not performance related. That's what it is.
Gotcha. Makes sense. But yeah, I mean, there was a little bit there. I was wondering if he was actually going to sign this extension. I mean, I wasn't sure. After spring training, he's like, "Yeah, I'm kind of done talking about it." And then the rumblings kept coming out the last couple of weeks about like, "Yeah, we're getting closer, but still no, getting closer." And then all of a sudden, it was just kind of like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, it's done." Um, but I don't know. Like, is it good for baseball to have him stay in Canada? I mean, he's kind of the man for that entire country, right?
Yeah.
I mean, down here, you have to compete with Otani, you have to compete with Soto and Judge and all the big names down here. Where in Canada, like, yeah, it's still MLB, I get it. But in Canada, like, he's the man. Do you think that have a little bit to do with it?
I mean, I think if you're MLB, having Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leave the Blue Jays and go somewhere else, you run the risk of the Blue Jays becoming irrelevant, in which case you've now lost a whole country's attention. Now, I don't believe that Canadians are loyal only to Canadian teams. I believe that they watch MLB like we do.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sure there's just as many Dodgers fans that live up in Canada as there are any other team. Um, but I do think that if you've got one team in Canada, and if they become irrelevant, I just think it's a bad spot for MLB to be in to lose the rest of the Canadian consumer. So I do think you need the Blue Jays to not become irrelevant. And having Vlad Guerrero be the centerpiece up there, a guy who's young and dynamic, very colorful. He's
Yeah.
I think it's important. I think it's important to have something that draws eyes to Toronto. Otherwise, the whole rest of the league and country may just not care anymore that they're even there.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I mean, the Blue Jays have come out and said, like, hey, we want to spend money. Like, all off season, they were trying to get guys. They finally landed Santander, and then they got this extension done, which I think the Blue Jays had to do. They had to get this done for them to even have a chance going forward. Otherwise than that, it was tear everything down and start from scratch. And I mean, ship everybody out. But I knew with the deal for Jimenez, like, the Blue Jays weren't going to sit back. Like, they were going to do something this offseason. So they're moving in the right direction. I think they need to start now addressing their pitching staff a little bit here. We'll
Yeah,
see
although
where
if
the Blue
if you
Jays
ask
go.
the Red Sox, the pitching staff was pretty good the last few days.
Yeah,
Um, so I mean the Blue Jays have to be able to build more depth in that on that roster.
yeah, Agree.
They do. I mean, you look down that roster, and that's a talented roster. I mean, even that pitching rotation is relatively good.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just not deep enough. You get through the first 5 hitters in the lineup and things fall off. You
Right.
get through the first 2 or 3 starters and things fall off. They're too top heavy. They've got, kind of a handful of core stud guys, and then it falls off quickly to not much.
Yeah. Agree. All right. Let's move on to the sad news of Octavio Dotel here. So he passes away in that tragic accident in the Dominican Republic where a nightclub roof collapsed. Um, I mean, sad, but he, I guess, passed away on the way to the hospital. Um, I didn't see what the total numbers were of deceased, but it was just a terrible accident. But 15-year career, 13 different teams, and career WAR of 15.8. And I mean, I remember being like watching games and being like, yo, when did he get traded to this team? Like he was just anywhere and everywhere there for middle relief throughout his entire career. Just he swapped teams every year. But pretty little decent career for him.
I used to love Chris Berman. It was always Octavio Shh Dotel, and that was all. That's what he was his nickname on Baseball Tonight for him.
Yeah,
And Dotel was one of those guys that, like a Nelson Cruz, and unfortunate connection there because Nelson Cruz's sister also died in this roof collapse. She was a governor of one of the provinces, and she was actually at this event as well. But he was one of those guys that had good stuff, good arm, could pitch anywhere, anytime, and because of that, he stayed around for a while,
yeah,
and he went everywhere because he was one of those guys that everybody had a need for a guy like him.
right.
And so he year to year, it was always somewhere else, and he'd pitch pretty well and then go on to the next one.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. But
So
so
last I saw, the total is 221 have died in
dang.
this roof collapse.
Wow. That's crazy. But
Yeah. So
yeah,
Nelson Cruz's sister was one of them. Octavia Dotel, a bunch of other so kind of celebrities, politicians, and there were other baseball players there, not necessarily people that we would know, but other players that played baseball at some level.
yeah. Wow. It's just unfortunate, but
It
so
it's very sad. It's a crazy situation to have a roof collapse like this.
yeah. All right. We'll get off the sad stuff here and go to more sad stuff for White Sox fans here. This was really tough to watch, but in Cleveland, Mike Tauchman was trying to score. He was on second base. They had second and third, 2 outs against Class A. Class A gives a base hit through the 5 hole. Mike Tauchman's coming around third and about a step and a half off of third base, pulls up with a hammy, gets tossed out at the plate really easily. He spikes his helmet down, slouches over, like clear discomfort. Now, it sucks to end a game like that.
Brutal ending.
But
I mean,
brutal.
even the Guardians players, like, there was not a celebration. There was just kind of
No.
like a standing around of like, wow.
Yeah. So I ask you this: is it the third base coach's fault for sending him since he was just coming back off a hamstring, anyways?
It is absolutely not the third base coach's fault. The third base coach's job is to execute the play as it's supposed to happen. That is a play where the runner from second scores 98% of the time.
Right.
It was there's pl- I mean, and you look at where Talkman was when he pulled up. I mean, he would have been safe. He would have had that throw beaten.
Yeah.
I would go back to, this is the manager's fault for not taking Talkman off the field, knowing that they should have pinch run for him, knowing that he was going to be that they needed this guy to run full out on a hit, and he was
Yeah.
literally just back off the IL with a hamstring. You're
Yeah.
asking a guy who literally just came back with a leg injury to run like hell late in the game,
Yeah.
and you
No.
can't rely on the third base coach to make that call to know that's Talkman. He's got a hamstring. I better slow him down. We're gonna not win this game because the guy's maybe not 100%. Like, it's the manager's job to put the right players in the field at the right time. That was a failure on his part. It is not the third bases coach to try to manage the different players based on how they're doing. He's managing the situation.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Absolutely. I mean, with 2 outs too, you're not going to hold him up at third because the chances you're
No,
getting another hit off Class A are slim to none. Right? That's your chance to tie the game right there. You have
that
to tie it.
that doesn't happen against Class A often. Like you had Class A absolutely on the ropes, and
Yep.
then this poor guy is going back to the IL with a hamstring, the same hamstring injury because you
Yep.
pushed him too hard. When anybody else in that team would have been able to round third and score.
Yeah. Brutal. All right.
But
Jackson.
it goes back to though like this is part of what makes the White Sox the White Sox.
Yep.
A good manager would have seen the situation and said, "Okay, I got to get Talkman off the field. I cannot let him go and give me 110% right now because he just got back.
You're right.
Who have I got on the bench that can go run for him?"
To
And
anybody.
exactly. I mean, hell, if I'm the manager, I'm gonna put a helmet on and go run myself
Right.
because you cannot let this guy do that. And that just it is. This is more what makes the White Sox the White Sox. There's not a plan. There's not any advanced thinking in that dugout. I don't know what they're doing. They continue to bring in coaches that I don't think are qualified. Maybe they're not at that level to pick up on these nuances of the game. I would like to believe that we're not smarter than the average baseball manager, but there's sometimes I look at what they do and I go, well, maybe we are.
Yeah.
Because this one to me was obvious, glaringly obvious.
Yeah. I got nothing to add. I mean, it's just the guy's just coming off. Like, what are you doing? I mean, yeah, if he says he's ready to play, you're also thinking he's 100% as well. I mean,
Absolutely.
so part of this could be on Talkman a little bit.
Mhm.
Maybe he tried to rush back. I don't know. But like you said, I think the lack of managers being in touch with their players in the White Sox system is an issue. And it's going to continue being an issue until they tear that whole thing down and start over. But
But
crazy.
I would ask to you, Nick. So one of your players, you're a manager, and one of your players is back from a hamstring injury. They've been back for a couple of days. You see the situation. He says, "No, I'm good, coach. Like I feel good." Don't you
I'm still,
still
oh,
don't
yeah.
you still pull him?
Yeah, I still right. I mean, I don't know what their bench situation was. It was late in the game. I don't know if they pinch hit if their bench was empty. I don't know. I would say probably not, just in case it went into extras. Um, but yeah, I mean, you got to run for him. I don't care if it's Yasmani Grandal. Sorry, bud. Get on your spikes. You're going out there.
Yeah.
I know you have zero speed, but you know it.
Well, and I
May
hate to say it, but we've seen teams. I mean, Joe Madden did this several times where he'd have a relief pitcher come in and run.
right.
Hey,
Yep.
I've got a couple guys in the bullpen that can run. Hey, you're gonna go try to score for me.
Yep.
All you got to do is run 180 feet. That's all I'm asking you to do.
Yep, Cora's done it a few times. We've seen Red
Yep.
Sox pitchers do it. So I mean, but again, that's advanced thinking, and I don't think the White Sox management is thinking that far ahead.
No, you almost have to save this guy from himself, knowing that he just got back.
Yep, agree.
Because any ball player is going to say, "No, I'm good. I got this." Like, because they want to do it. They want. There's a
Right.
lot of pride and ego, but also just like there's that desire to win, and I want to be on the field when it happens. But at the same time, I also need you tomorrow. So maybe let's not do that.
Right. Agree. All right. Jackson Merrill hits the IL. However, the Padres aren't missing a beat. They're the first team to 10 wins. Is this Padres team legit?
Oh yeah, I mean that this Padres team is absolutely legit. I think the big question mark for us in the offseason was, given what's happened around them, did they do enough to stay in the hunt? The Diamondbacks went out and made some moves, brought in Naylor, brought in Burns. You were getting a healthy Montgomery back, you thought.
Yeah.
Um, but in the end, you don't need him. And then the Dodgers continue to do what the Dodgers do. So you looked at the Padres and said, the Padres might have been the best team in baseball at the end of last season, just the way they were playing, the way that lineup was working.
Yep.
But it kind of made you wonder, like, did they do enough to remain in the hunt? And I think the answer is, yeah, they did. They're still a really good team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that again, we've been saying it for weeks. This NL West is going to be a crazy race for second place. We'll get into the Giants a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, Merrill's a big cog in that offense, so we'll see how long he's on the IL for, if he comes back and, makes an impact right away. But yeah, Padres are legit, and they're going to be there. They're going to be pesky at the end for sure.
So
And
speaking of Jackson Merrill, did you see the comments that he made when he signed his extension?
no,
So he made comments along the lines of, not everybody needs a $700 million extension, kind of a shot at Soto. And then he has immediately gotten a lot of heat back from Mets fans, Mets players, just the way, because it was clearly a dig at Soto.
right.
And he created a little bit of a firestorm for himself, and I don't know that he had necessarily expected the response that he got, but he did take a pretty good dig at him.
Well, we're in the age of social media, and everything players say immediately goes online and it gets blown out of proportion. But um, doesn't mean he's not going to be seeking 700 million when his free agency comes up or the end of his extension comes up.
Yeah.
Could be.
Oh, yeah, so here's his comment. I think just even having an opportunity to sign with the San Diego Padres is enough for me, but I also feel like there comes a time where you know your worth, you know your value. Listen, I know there are contracts out there that are beyond absurd. They're super amounts of money, but having a relationship with a real human being and a real team like I have here, you can't beat that. You can't just sign for $700 million and want everything to be perfect.
Okay. Well, I mean, the first part of that comment really wasn't that bad, but then the
No,
last line is definitely a dig.
it went a little off the rails for him, but
Yeah.
I mean, and I can appreciate his point. Like Soto chased the bag and went to the highest bidder, and that was what was important to him. And Jackson Merrill's whole thing was, I like it here. I like the people. They treat me well. I'm happy with this. Like I don't have to go get paid $700 million to feel good about it.
Yeah.
And I get what he was saying, but the shot at Soto at the end, I think, was what
Yeah.
really drew the attention of other ball players, and he's gotten a lot of flack back for it.
And I'm surprised the MLBPA didn't have something to say about it, and maybe they will.
They might. I mean, I don't think it's over. I think him going on the IL is probably well timed, so he disappears for a couple of weeks, and
Yep.
this whole thing blows over.
Yep. Agree.
But and I will say that the MLBPA reports came out that the MLBPA had told Jackson Merrill not to sign this contract because they felt that it was undervalue, it was under market.
Oh, wow.
So he was encouraged by MLBPA not to even sign. So he's probably already made them mad because they feel like he settled for way too little.
Yep.
And they're probably not wrong. I mean, he's probably worth
No.
significantly more than what he signed for. But again, like his whole thing was kind of like Mike Trout. I want to be here. I'm happy with it. Like
Right.
I don't need it all.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Justin Steele back on the 15-day IL with left elbow tendonitis. And, you know, he was out for a big chunk last year with the hamstring. And then now he's back on the IL again. And tendonitis flares up, goes away, flares up, goes away. So I don't know. Do we see him out for an extended period of time?
I mean, I mean, you said it. You said it with tendonitis. It's here, then it's gone, then it's back, then it's gone, then it's back. It's one of those things that you don't necessarily fully get over without long stretches of rest. However, it's also April 10th, and
Right.
tendonitis this early in the season says he probably had it all. He probably was dealing with some elbow stuff in the off season too. So this is probably not a new thing for him. So um, I am hopeful because I do believe that Cubs team is legit. I am hopeful that this is a couple weeks off, maybe ease him back in a little bit, put him on a pitch count for a few more weeks and let him not overdo it, and then he's fine. But tendonitis is one of those that you just don't know.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate because the Cubs are playing well. And it's just that's a hole in the rotation they're going to have to try to fill. So we'll
Yeah,
see how that affects them.
that's a big hole. That's a tough one.
Yeah. Wyatt Langford on the IL right oblique strain. Here we go with the Rangers injuries. I I just don't know. I mean, this is what we were worried about with the Rangers going forward.
Well, and you called it last week. It was, Leiter goes out with blisters, and you asked the question, like, is this the beginning of the of the Rangers' injuries. And now here's Langford with an oblique. Again, these are all like little. I don't want to use the word goofy, but they're kind of like these little goofy nagging injuries that will mess you up for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where the Rangers go. I mean, it's just they had like Josh Young just came back. Now Wyatt Langford's on, and it's just over and over and over again with these Rangers. It's insane. I it's tough because the Rangers are really freaking good when they're all healthy, but they just can't be there. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it's frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's really frustrating.
So we'll see what happens with them, but
Just getting caught up. There we
um,
go.
yep.
All right.
All right.
All right. So that's it on Langford. Let's move on. Jacob Wilson. So for those of you who are baseball fans, if you are not watching the Oakland A's play right now, you are missing some stuff. Um, this Jacob Wilson kid is impressive. Tyler Soderstrom's impressive. He's got 6 bombs in the air and he's tied for the league lead. But Jacob Wilson, he's now at a hit streak of 14 games going back to last year, 13 straight for this season. But what's more impressive is so far in his career, he's got 41 hits and only 12 Ks. So we're talking contact hitter like a Luis Ariz, which we just don't see players like that anymore. But 41 hits, 12 Ks, 14 straight going back to last year. This this Oakland, I keep calling them Oakland. This A's team is a lot of fun to watch. It is you've got Rooker and Butler and Wilson and Soderstrom and Langoliers. The lineup is deep. They're exciting. They are fun to watch. If you're not watching them, you should absolutely do yourself a favor and catch a game or two because this team will entertain you. You will enjoy it. All right, Kenley Jansen. As a Red Sox fan, this one hurts a little bit. Kenley Jansen got his 450th career save this week. Kenley Jansen and Craig Kimbrell are probably the 2 best closers of this era, this generation. And it's challenging to say that because they have had some great stretches and some also very rocky stretches. But I will say, Kenley Jansen, when you add it all up, 450 career saves, he's got more than Wagner. He is clearly now in the top 5 closers of all time. And I have a really tough time saying that because he has been so Jekyll and Hyde. He has been so good at stretches, so bad in stretches. His tenure with the Red Sox was a roller coaster ride, Nick. Is that what you'd call it?
To say the least, yes. Yeah, I mean, but it seems like a lot of those closers towards the end of their careers, except for your Mariano Rivera's, I mean Trevor Hoffman's, those elite guys, like they didn't really have a fall off. But like you look at Kimbrell and like he's bounced around, he's been a heart attack closer. These guys that aren't, you know, robots like Hoffman and Rivera tend to kind of do this towards the end of their careers. But is he still one of the best of all time? I mean, it's hard to say no, right? I mean,
He's
yeah,
got
he's not
he's got
that
the fourth.
upper,
He's got the 4th most saves of all time. I mean, it's
right?
and Billy Wagner just went to the Hall of Fame, and he's got what is it? He had 28 more saves than Wagner,
Yeah,
and he's not
yeah.
done yet. He's going to save more games this year, and especially if the Angels keep winning, he's going to save more games.
Which we'll get into later too. But
But I just
yeah, I mean,
I struggle because, as I was saying before you came right back, is that when you look at it, Jansen and Kimbrell are probably the 2 best closers of this era, kind of this last 10 to 12 year stretch since
yeah,
Rivera sunsetted.
I
And
I
I have a
I might put Chapman in there too, to be honest.
oh, that's fair. All right. I mean, Chapman. I mean, he's in terms of save count, he's a ways behind them. But yeah, in terms of dominance, yes, he's had
Yeah,
stretches. But and I have a tough time with that because these guys have been so good for stretches, so bad for stretches. They bounced around. They've been very Jekyll and Hyde. And I think
yeah,
when I think of elite closers, I think of Hoffman and Rivera and I mean, even K-Rod at times
Yeah.
and Wagner, who they were just automatic. Like there was no roller coaster ride. And these guys have had moments, but you look at the body of work and Kenley Jansen, fourth most saves all time, definitely Hall of Famer, definitely one of the top 5 closers ever.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a handful of guys where that save music comes on, they come flying out
Yep.
of the bullpen, you're like, this game is over, right? Um, but you're right, there was stretches in Kimbrell's and Jansen's career where it's like, I don't know who we getting tonight. Like which one's coming out of the bullpen tonight? But
Yep. And
I think that's what makes Rivera and Hoffman so
yeah,
much more elite because like those games were rare. Rivera closed every game that he wasn't facing Todd Walker. If he was facing Todd Walker, forget it. He'd blow the save. But
or Billy Miller.
or Billy Miller, right. Those two owned him for whatever reason. But
Yeah.
other than that, it was just like the music comes on and it's like, okay, well, Enter Sandman's playing. This game's over. Let's just start packing up the dugout. Same thing with Hoffman. So
Yeah.
I mean,
And
yes, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, Wagner just kind of set the bar, I think, for
yep.
the. I don't even know if it's the low end of the bar for a closer. I mean, we've talked about what that save
Yeah.
that quote unquote automatic save threshold is, and I put it at 450, thinking that like yeah, if you get over 450 saves, you're most likely getting into the Hall of Fame. And Wagner was what 422, 423,
422, yeah, 422.
422. So yeah, maybe it's over 400. I don't know, or it's the eyeball test.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just throwing things out because I never know how the Hall of Fame's going to go.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, 450 puts you in the top 5, like, that has to be an automatic punch your ticket. 425 is probably, I mean, anything over 400 might become automatic. I mean, you've got Rivera at 652, Hoffman at 601, Lee Smith at 478, who Kenley Jansen could still catch.
Yes.
Kenley Jansen now at 450, Craig Kimbrell at 440. Probably not a lot more saves in Kimbrell's future, but, I mean, he's not done.
No.
K-Rod at 437, John Franco at 424, Billy Wagner at 422, Eckersley at 390, and then Joe Nathan at 377. That's your top 10. Joe Nathan is a top 10 closer all time.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Papelbon is 9 saves behind him.
So I think the next test for closers is going to be this next vote. If K-Rod actually gets some consideration this year. Because honestly, the class is weak as hell. We've
Yeah,
gone over that.
this is the
So
time.
we're thinking Beltran, we're thinking Andrew Jones, and does Francisco Rodriguez sneak in there? I mean, he's got the all-time single save, record, single
Yep.
season save record.
Yeah,
And
62, is that what he had? 60?
yep, 62 or 63.
Yeah.
I want to say 63, but that's
Yeah,
just a guess.
62 in 2008.
Dang it. So whatever.
So
Either
close.
way, either way, I think he could possibly sneak in this year. And I say sneak in. I think he deserves to be in. I mean, if you're in the top 5 or 6 closers of all times, you have over 400 saves. Like, yeah, you were dominant when you were
Yep.
in the prime of your career and beyond. So I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll see. I don't think
And
he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He'll have to kind of, sweat it out like the other closers, but I think he will get consideration.
yeah, and you look at Jansen, you look at both Jansen and Kimbrell, they were on our lowest ERAs of the 2010s list.
Yep.
And then they both have lower ERAs than Trevor Hoffman. Like when you think about what these guys have, I mean, arguably these guys were more effective than Hoffman, just over a smaller body of work. It's hard to argue they are not going to be first or second ballot guys. But I do keep going back to, and I'm the guy that keeps saying it. I do think the closer role is overrated.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's overvalued. But when you're a top 5 closer, I don't think it matters. You should be in.
Yep. Agree. All right. Yeah, Mike Yastrzemski hits a walk-off home run into McCovey Cove in the 10th for the Giants yesterday. Are they a team to watch going forward?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think they're a team to watch. I mean, I think they've had a really great stretch. Um, but the Giants also have yet to play a single team with a record better than 500.
Okay,
Um,
fair enough.
I mean, you look at their schedule; it's been marshmallow soft, and like we said, and in no way have we said the Giants aren't a good team. But our whole
Yeah.
stance has been this is a team that probably wins the NL Central,
Right.
but because of the division that they're in, the best they're going to do is fourth place.
Yep.
And they're really more of victims of the division that they're in than the team they have, because that team would win the NL Central, would probably win the AL Central, would be very competitive in the AL East, and might win the AL West. But because of the division that they're in, fourth place is about the best they're going to do unless they can rip off a 100-win season.
Yep. I mean, the only hope they have is if, all three teams from the West are wild card teams. But that's
Yeah,
just not going to happen because they're going to beat up on each other here for a little bit. Um,
yeah, and don't forget about the Braves, Phillies, and Mets over in the East
yeah,
that
yeah,
are going to have
right.
something to say about that too. I mean,
Yep.
the NL is stacked. I mean,
Yes,
the
it is.
sad part is the Giants could go out this year and win 90 games, and they won't sniff the playoffs.
Right.
And I think that's just the state of National League baseball. There's 7 or 8 teams fighting for 6 spots.
Yeah. I agree. The top, yeah, top 9, 10 teams in the National League could probably
Yep.
do decently in the playoffs. That's crazy. That's the race. Last year we were just like, this is going to be crazy going down the stretch,
Yep.
and it was came down to the last day. But yeah, yeah, I
And
don't know what to think about the Giants. I mean, I think their young pitchers, still need another year. You got Birdsong and you got Kyle Harrison. Like they're
yep.
good. They show glimpses of dominant stuff, and then they get lit up. But being in that park's only going to help them. That's a pitcher friendly park. Um, so I don't know. I put the Giants in the upper third of the National League probably,
Oh yeah.
but they won't find their way into the playoffs, unfortunately.
No, I mean I think they probably win 3 of the other 6 division or 3 of the other 5 divisions in baseball. Um,
Yeah,
they they just they're just surrounded by too much.
yeah,
And are they a team to watch? They're definitely a team to watch because they play a good brand of baseball. They are a fun team to watch. I watched a couple of their games last week. Very fun to watch. Um, but they're not going to be a playoff team just based on the function of the division that they're in, because they've also got to play all 3 of those teams on top of them 12 times each or 13
right.
times each. And they don't lose much.
Yeah. Do you think if they ever get the 2 expansion teams, I mean, we're talking, 5, 6, 7, 8, I don't know, 15 years down the road at this point,
Yeah.
and they go to the 4, 4, and 4, 16 in each American, each national. Do they go kind of like hockey and just take the top 8 teams in the National League, top 8 teams in the American League? You think they do something like that if they end up going 16 and 16?
Um, I don't think they'd go top 8. I think they'd still do the 6 and give the first round bye, only because if you win 8 teams and added a whole extra round, I just think the playoffs would go too long. Now, they could do that if they shorten the season, which they've talked about doing too. Do you shorten the season and
Yes.
add more playoff teams to make the playoffs longer and the season shorter? If you stripped a week off the season and went back to like 154, then you could definitely go just take the top 8 or take the 4 division winners and the next best 4, and bring 8 teams in. That could be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. Agree. All right. Baltimore Orioles have still not won a series yet this year. Is it too early to panic?
um, yes, too early to panic, but it is concerning that they are scoring runs and they are not winning games. Um, Similar to what we said, though, this is a team that we knew would have some pitching difficulties, and they looked good at times. They've also been really, really terrible at times.
Yeah.
And they're at 5-8. They're a -6 run differential. They've scored the second most runs, third most runs in the AL East. They've also given up the second most.
Yeah.
So it's the story we were afraid they'd be telling this year, which is we're going to score a bunch, but we're not going to prevent very many. And because of that, the Orioles remind me a lot of last year's Red Sox,
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
where you have to outscore your pitching, and that's hard to do every night.
Yep.
I do think the pitching will get better, because they had Sagano go down. I think he's back now, but they
Yeah.
had a little bit of scare with him. You got some other guys who are still settling in. Grayson Rodriguez is on the way back. Like the pitching will get better, but it's not a good feeling to have to know that you've got to go out every night and outscore your pitching.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm
Oh,
with you
100%.
here. Yeah, and we have been on them since, like,
Yep.
all off
All
season.
off
We're just
season.
like, "What are the Orioles doing?" Or, well, not doing.
Yeah.
We were just like, "How can you not bring in veteran pieces like, and not Gary Sanchez veteran pieces, like,
Yep.
legit veteran pieces into this lineup?" You just lost Corbin Burns, and you knew you weren't bringing Anthony Santander back. You knew you were gonna lose those 2. So what are you doing? You replace them with Gary Sanchez and Tyler O'Neill? That's not going to do it. Like I agree with you 1,000%. I don't understand it. Now to kind of defend the Orioles a little bit, they have had a tough schedule to start.
They have.
Like they've played some good teams. They just got done with the Diamondbacks, and the Diamondbacks aren't slouch. They got their played the Red Sox, and um, I'm forgetting who they opened the season with. I can't watch them, so I kind of
Oh, that's right. You're
just
blacked
listen.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're going to Toronto.
Mhm.
Or sorry, Toronto's coming into them, but the Orioles are one of the few teams in the league who have played nothing but better than 500 teams.
Yeah, they've had a tough stretch to
So,
start.
like, we talked about the Giants, they haven't played a single better than 500 team. The Orioles have played nothing but better than 500 teams, which, I mean, if you can play, I mean, you'd like to play better than 385 ball, but if you can play 400 baseball against 500 or better teams and play 600 baseball against the teams below that, you're going to be just fine. But they
Yeah.
have had a hellacious start to the season.
Yeah, and it's playing out unfortunately exactly how I predicted. Was It's just like they didn't do anything to help their pitching staff. And Zach Eflin is not an ace. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they're fourth. The way the Blue Jays are playing right now, the Sox are playing well. The Yankees are the Yankees. I just don't see this pitching staff dialing it up another notch to get them over those 3 teams. I just really don't. Like, yes, I get the tough schedule to start, but I just don't see them leapfrogging those 3 at this moment. Now, the the Blue Jays are the Blue Jays, and it's really early. This is really early overreaction. Blue Jays always find a way to not be competitive by August, mid August, and maybe that's them again this year. Who knows? Um, the Orioles can hit. We've never said they couldn't, but their pitching is a huge, huge problem right now.
Yeah. And I do think because, you lost Corbin Burns, you didn't replace him, that you don't make up that loss with just anybody. So that's a hole. But you've had guys like Cade Povich, who's actually pitched pretty well to start the season. Sugano's looked okay. Grayson Rodriguez is coming back. Eflin's not an ace, but he's still a very good major league pitcher. I do think this team will be better. I'm not ready to say that they're going to fall into third or fourth. I still think they're going to be towards the top of these standings because, yeah, we watched the Red Sox. They obliterated the Cardinals and they got absolutely destroyed by the Blue Jays.
Yeah,
This baseball has a way of normalizing this, and the Orioles had probably one of the toughest schedules in baseball to start the season, and they're okay. Like they're coming out of
yeah,
it in okay shape. You give them 2 weeks against the Rays, and the White Sox, they'll be back at the top of the standings. We're all going to be like, okay, they're fine.
yeah.
I think
That's
this
fair.
this is a tough stretch. It's a
Yeah,
tough
that's
stretch.
fair. That's fair.
And I
Absolutely fair.
don't think the Blue Jays are gonna hang where they're at because that's another team that's played half their games against teams better than 500, and they've beaten up on bad teams otherwise.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
just
taking three out of the 4 against the Red Sox is pretty big, though.
that is pretty big, and those honestly, that's
Can
half of their schedule against better than 500 teams, and they absolutely own the Red Sox. The Red Sox looked atrocious in that series. They had very little
Yeah.
going.
Yep. Agree.
But the Red Sox are doing what they did last year, which is scoring a bunch of runs and giving up a bunch too. So it's
Yep.
the pattern continues.
Yep. All right. Atlanta Braves, 2-8 to start, 2-9 to start the season.
Yep.
Is it time to panic for them, or are they just hoping that Strider and Acuna turn the ship around when they get back?
The only team with a tougher schedule to start the year than the Orioles is the Braves. The Braves went and faced the Dodgers and the Padres, and they're battling the Phillies right now. They've lost so many one-run games. So the Atlanta Braves are -11 with 9 losses. They've been outscored by 11 runs and they've got 9 losses. So they are literally losing nothing but one-run games on average. And I watched them lose one the other night. It was 2-2. They came back to tie it 2-2. Trey Turner hits a go-ahead home run in the top of the ninth, and they can't recover and they lose that game. It's it's been a brutal stretch for the Braves. But
Yeah.
it's also been the toughest schedule that anybody in baseball has had. And they have one of the hardest Aprils in general, period, in all of baseball. So I
Yeah.
don't think anybody's expecting them to get off to a red hot start. I don't think anybody expected they'd be 2-9 either. So panic, no. Concerned, yes, because you don't want to get so far behind that you create this mountain. Because keep in mind, the teams in front of them aren't going to give them a lot of breathing room. The
Yeah.
Phillies are
And
not going to just fall off and let them march their way back to the top of the standings.
yeah. Honestly, I'm with Cap in here. I think it's 100% panic. I know we're 11 games into the season and there's 162. I get that. Braves have a lot of issues going on. The off the field stuff or slash on field stuff with Profar, trying to get everybody back from injuries. You're gonna try to hold Acuna back so he's not a loose cannon out there, so he gets hurt again. When Strider coming back, I don't know the exact date. They're hoping right mid-May. Is that the timetable for Strider?
Yeah,
Ish.
they're talking ideally early to mid-May. He looks ready to go now, but they're trying to prevent him from coming back too soon.
Exactly. And I think them kind of slow playing it is gonna hurt them even more. Like I get the tough schedule part. You're gonna have soft parts in your schedule that you have to win. But I just don't know if they do. I mean, I've tuned into a few of them, but I'm not impressed. They don't look like the Braves that they have in the past few years. They just don't. And I don't
No,
know exactly what it is, but something's off there.
yeah, I mean, I think you're still very much missing Acuna in that lineup. Matt Olson's off to a dreadful start. Austin Riley was off to a slow start. He had a big home run, 2-run home run last night to tie the game, and then Trey Turner put him ahead. Albies had a great at bat late against Alvarado to create a rally in the ninth that almost let him tie the game. Like I feel like there's a lot of things happening. You also have a lot of things you're fighting against, like Olson off to yet another slow start, but he's always a slow starter. I look at that Braves team and I look at here we are again. They're in a 1-1 slugfest with the Phillies.
Yeah.
Another just like knockdown drag out fight. They could lose this one and fall to 2-10. But I look at the way the Braves have lost. They've lost super close games to the best of the best in the NL. I'm just not panicked over that because give them 2 weeks or 3 weeks where they're facing somebody else. Send them to Washington, send them to Pittsburgh, send them to Cincinnati, and they'll take 7 of 9. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, like they're okay. Like they're back. They
Yeah.
need to get out of this cycle of facing they've literally just traded blows in the ring with the best teams in the NL for the first 2 weeks. And
But that
it's
can that
tough.
can that can also take a toll on you when you go to play those lesser teams, right? Because
It can.
you're exhausted and you lose games that you shouldn't. Like
Yep.
they're 2-9 right now. If they go the next 2 weeks and they're 2-9 again, you're sitting at 4-18. They're out. There's no way that, to your point, they're going to leapfrog the NL East, anybody in the NL East, or the NL in general to get a wild card spot at that point. You're too far
Right.
behind, I think. I mean, you would
Yeah, no,
have to have an Oakland A's stretch of 26-0 to get back into it. And
Yeah,
I don't see that their pitching staff can carry them like that.
you can't keep digging this hole for yourself. Like, you have to at some point stop the bleeding and get things going in the right direction again. So they finish up with the Phillies, they go to Tampa Bay. That'll be I think a bit of a reprieve for them.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, I mean, Tampa Bay has been really all over the place, but that's
Yeah.
kind of who they are.
Yeah.
Then they go to Toronto again, not a cupcake. I mean, the Braves have, and I want to say when the schedule released, there was a writer that said like they've given the Braves an unfair start to the season because they are on the road a lot against the best of the best, and it is going to be a very humbling month for this team.
Yeah.
Now, could they come off and could they run May and June and go, 20-6 in those months? They probably
Yeah.
could because they're going to get a bunch of cupcakes, but you can't dig yourself so big a hole that you can't get out of it this early. And so am I panicked? No, but I am concerned because they
Yeah.
are in a spot where if they don't go to Tampa and Toronto and take 2 out of 3 from each one of them, you're sitting back wondering, am I already is it already too late? Have
Yeah.
I already dug too big a hole?
Yeah. Because at that point, a 20-6 run does nothing for you. You're too far in,
Yeah,
too far gone.
it gets you back to 500. I mean, you're falling too far behind.
Yeah. Agree.
But so I think they're in a tough spot. I do think they're going to get better. I do think they're going to hit some stretches where they just roll over teams and pile up wins. The question just is how big is the hole they're digging out of?
Yeah. Agree. All right. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, California.
Yeah.
So Joe Adell homers twice in one inning. He's the third Angel to ever do it. And Trout homered twice today, which is nice for Angels fans and baseball fans. So we'll get to Trout in a minute. But are the Angels the surprise team of the early going so far this year?
I don't know if they're a surprise team. And we've said it on this show for months that is a much improved team. They were going to be better. They were not going to be a doormat. They were going to be competitive. And they have been. And as of this morning, of course, it's changed because they played today. As of this morning, they were a -1 run differential and had not yet played a single above 500 team. They're now a +9 because they blew. They had an
They
absolute
blew.
blowout today against Tampa,
Yep.
and they now are 2-1 against 500 teams because somebody got bumped up because they also won today. So it's one of those things where you looked at them this morning and you're like, not impressive what they've done. They're the American League Giants. They've had a marshmallow soft schedule. They've played well, and I mean, I think they're going to play well. I think that is a good team. You've added Soler, you've added d'Arnaud, you've added some pitching depth. Soler hit an absolute rocket the other day, and Trout hit his 5th today,
Yeah.
and he finally, knock on wood, cross everything you can find, looks healthy.
Yep.
And this team could be really dangerous if they stay healthy. But again, I don't. They're going to get humbled when they get into a harder part of the schedule. And are they going to stay healthy?
Yeah. I mean, they have had Jose Soriano. So he's been kind of a nice surprise for them
Yeah.
because he's now starting. He's pitching pretty well for them early. I mean, yeah, he's 1-1 with a 3.65 ERA. But 14 strikeouts in 12 innings. He went out and dealt against the Rays today. And say what you want about the Rays, they're still a major league lineup. But his outings have been solid for them. And I think kind of like the Orioles we've been talking about, it was like, all right, like this lineup can hit. They got some young kids that can hit. Logan Hoppy, if Trout comes back healthy, Soler, d'Arnaud backing up. Neto, if he ever gets back. Like they have what is it? Shawnell.
I never pronounce his name right. Schwanel, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever. They all can hit. That the Angels team can hit, but can they pitch the ball? We're not sure. So Soriano's been kind of a nice surprise for them early.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I mean, are they better than expected early on? Yeah. They haven't played great teams, but I don't think, I mean, at least we did not expect this team to be bad. We
No,
expected them to be improved.
but Angels teams in the past have Trout's homered twice and they lose to the Rays 8-2.
It is
You
true.
know, so like for them to actually be winning these games that Trout is homering in is saying something, because Angels teams in the past, that was the joke storyline forever. It was like Ohtani goes deep twice, Trout goes deep 3 times, the Angels lose 12-5.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
so now that they're actually winning those games, says something about this team. I picked them to finish 5th in the AL West. I don't think that's going to happen after watching them and kind of watching the A's. I love watching the A's. I think they're a young, exciting team. But I think, unfortunately, I think they're going to finish 5th, because that Sacramento ballpark is an absolute bandbox and balls are flying out of there like crazy. And
Yeah.
teams are just coming in and just raking against them in that ballpark.
Yeah, and I think, we all picked them to finish 5th because I don't think anybody knows what to make of them.
Yeah.
But the one thing I think we both agree, all three of us agreed on during the prediction show, was that this is a better team than last year. It is not a
Yes.
doormat. They're going to be competitive. They could climb up the standings a little bit. Are they a playoff team? No, but they're also not a joke. Like, this
Right.
is a team, and I've watched a couple of their games in the last few days, only because seeing Trout healthy again is fun.
Yes. Yep.
And they do play a good brand of baseball. They are a little choppy defensively. Their pitching is a bit of a roller coaster ride at times. They have good innings, bad innings, but on the whole, they're actually a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
They got a
Yeah.
lot of
I
power
agree.
too. They hit a lot of home runs.
They do, for sure. But yeah. All right. All right. So our parlays to start the season have not gone exactly the way we've wanted. I felt pretty good about this one. This was a couple weeks ago, when the Cubs were in Arizona. That was the first week of the year. We picked Ketel Marte to get 2+ hits, and then Steele and Gallen to get over their K lines, and they didn't. I think Steele finished with 4, Gallen finished with 5. Like, we just missed
Yeah,
it.
we
It's like,
missed them by one each.
yeah. So like, Vegas knows what they're doing, and I hate it. But
Yeah, they're pretty
anyways,
smart.
yep. So we're back on the horse this week. We're taking tomorrow's game, single game parlay. Bobby Witt Jr. needs one double, and Kyle Isbell needs a double. And we will be $75 richer or $5 poorer. So, yeah, that's why it's called gambling, for sure. Well, it's better than our first bet we ever placed, Captain, which was Freddie Freeman 2 bases, and then he got scratched in that first lineup, that first game. And we're like, okay,
Yeah,
that's
30 minutes. Yeah,
cool.
we placed the bet the night before and he got scratched 30 minutes before first pitch.
Yeah, so
It's like,
that was great.
that's a rough way to start.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we're taking the Bobby Witt Jr. and Kyle Isbell each with a double tomorrow, against the Guardians. So let's
Which
go Royals.
I don't hate. And is it Tanner Bybee pitching tomorrow?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, who got absolutely roasted in his last outing by the
Yeah.
Angels.
Yep.
Angels destroyed him.
So let's hope for 2 first inning doubles right off the top here. So,
Yeah,
but yeah.
yeah,
So
exactly. Let's just knock it out early.
yep. So overall, we're -10 on the year. And like I said when we first introduced this a few weeks ago, no matter how well or how poorly we do, we're gonna tell you guys. So we are $10 in the hole after 2 weeks. So,
But if we do really bad, do not be surprised if a GoFundMe link shows up on our page.
yes, absolutely, 1,000%. So,
Honestly, I just find it fun to go through the lines and think about the matchups and who's hot, who's got the better matchup, who might be able to deliver. Because I love geeking out on baseball
yeah,
stats and matchups.
yeah, absolutely, with you. All
All
right,
right, Nick, are you ready?
yes, sir. Bring it on.
All right, chat. I expect full participation from chat here. Nick's gonna need some help on some of these. I'm getting these are getting progressively harder. I'm trying to keep them from being like really, really crazy hard because I still want everybody to participate. But these are a little harder this week. We'll see how Nick does.
All
All right, you
right,
ready?
let's bring it.
Fired up. All right. This player played for 16 seasons between 1992 and 2008. They played for the Yankees, the Angels, the Giants, and the Red Sox. They were a 6-time Gold Glove winner, and they're best known for their save at home plate during the 2002 World Series. Nick, who is that guy?
That is somebody. You guys just got some precipitation up there, didn't you? Up in Maine today, little
Not that
JT
long ago,
snow,
yeah. Little JT
little.
Snow, yeah.
Yeah,
Little JT Snow.
and he saved Dusty Baker's son at home. Is that what you were talking about?
He
The
did, he
save at
saved
home,
saved Darren Baker at home plate from getting run over.
and now
So,
he's a
if you
major
if you
leaguer.
all remember the '02 World Series, JT Snow is the bat boy ran out to get the bat when there's a play at the plate happening, so JT Snow came across the score, grabbed him, pulled him out of the play before so he didn't get run over by the trailing runner. But yes, that's, and Darren Baker's now in the minor leagues with somebody, I believe, making his way to the
I, he was
he's not
he debuted for the Nationals last year.
he did. Is he still on the roster, though, or is he back in the minors?
Uh, I don't know. I
Okay, I
don't
think
know,
he's
but
still
I
back.
know
I think he
he.
went back to the minors, but it's
Yeah,
cool though because Dusty Baker's kid. Um, but that was such a cool video. If you've never seen it, go check it out.
yeah.
But yeah, so that is JT Snow. So career average 268, 189 home runs, 877 RBIs, only an 11.1 WAR. I found that surprising. In all those seasons,
It's
only 11.1.
probably all defensive too.
It's probably largely defensive. Yeah, I mean, JT Snow was always one of those guys who hit enough. He was a glove guy, a decent contact guy, but like nothing remarkable.
Yeah,
But I always liked him because he was one of those just. It's just like I always loved John Olerud. Like they were just like show up every day, grind it out
that sweet lefty
players.
swing. Yep.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
Olerud's swing was beautiful.
with 6 Gold Gloves, I would almost guarantee most of his WAR came
Yep.
from defensive WAR.
Yes, probably entirely defensive war. All right, next one. Played for 19 seasons between 1987 and 2007. Played for the Orioles, Indians, Giants, Mariners, Phillies, Pirates, Rockies, and Tigers. Two-time All-Star and one-time Rolaids Reliever of the Year. Best known for nearly winning the Cy Young, finishing second, and the MVP finishing fourth as a reliever in 1995. Nick, who is that guy?
Oh, is that Jose Mesa?
It is absolutely Jose
Oh,
Mesa.
okay.
What a pull. That
Well,
is Jose Mesa.
so I actually saw him pitch when he was with the Phillies. So I went to a
Hmm.
Pedro Martinez against Omar Dahl. I was behind home plate every pitch. You could see me in the upper left corner on TV every
Oh,
pitch. Like
cool.
that's how good my seats were with Pedro. And I was like, I don't know, 16. So I'm geeking out because I'm like right behind home plate.
Yep.
And I'll never forget he came in. This is the first time I had ever seen 100 miles an hour plus ever. And he would throw the ball, the catcher would catch it, and then you just feel like a little like puff of
Yeah.
air like behind you, and you're just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But just like to see the speed and to hear the snap of the glove like that far away was incredible. At 16 years old, I was just like, what am I
Yeah.
watching? But
Hoser Mesa, and I mean hoser.
um,
Anyways,
yeah,
yes, that is
yeah,
Jose
Jose
Mesa.
Mesa.
So a
Wow,
career
cool.
record of 80 and 109, ERA of 4.36, 321 saves, and 11.4 WAR. I most remember him being part of those ridiculous Indians teams in the
Oh
mid
yeah.
90s
Mhm.
that just destroyed everybody but didn't win anything, which was sad in its own right. But man, he could bring it. He could absolutely in an era where guys, not a lot of guys threw that hard. He threw that hard.
Yeah. Yeah, he threw gas. Absolute gas.
Absolute gas. All right, here we go, Nick. This might be the hardest of the bunch, but I think you're going to get it. So, played for 19 seasons between 1987 and 2005. Played for the Brewers, Orioles, and Braves. A one-time All-Star. Best known for being the number one overall draft pick in 1995 and being on the first Olympic team. I should say 94.
It should say
Who?
94.
Yeah. Who is that guy?
Ah, got it. It is BJ Surhoff.
It is absolutely BJ Surhoff. BJ Surhoff came up as a catcher, played catcher for a few years, then moved to the infield, then moved to the outfield. He had kind of uh, a lot of movement, a lot of positional movement in his career. BJ Surhoff, average career average 282, 188 home runs, 1153 RBIs, and a 34.4 WAR. I most remember him with the Orioles,
A thousand
um,
percent.
but he started with the Brewers, and I honestly don't remember the Brewers' time at all. But it was probably because I was too young to recall or pay attention.
I
But
don't.
another guy who was solid, but not remarkable.
I don't remember him going to the Braves at all.
It was very brief.
Like
He was not
like
there long.
you say BJ Surhoff and it's just Orioles. That's it. That's it for me.
That's well,
Like
yeah.
I don't have him in any other uniform in my head. It's just the Orioles uniform.
It's the same thing like when I think of Nick Markakis. I only think him with the Orioles, but he was with the Braves just as long.
Right. Yep.
I just
Yeah,
kind of
there's
don't
certain
see it that
guys
way.
like yeah, there's certain guys that have been on multiple teams, but like when you say their names, like that's the team they're on. Like I don't care that he played for 5 other teams. Like no,
Right.
he didn't. Like it's only, that uniform in
Yep.
my head.
Yeah. In my mind, he was always with this team.
Yep.
Um, and he was not. But BJ
Right.
Surhoff, just a solid guy. He drove the Red Sox crazy for a lot of years. But when you look at his career, he was with Milwaukee for 9 years, Baltimore for 8, Atlanta for 3.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so not a lot of variation, but I only remember the Orioles.
Yeah, same. Crazy. That's a good one.
All right, moving on. This one I enjoyed. Played for where's and I hope John's in the chat. Played for 14 seasons between 1998 and 2011. He played for the Mariners and the Tigers.
Charlie
Three-time
Furbush.
All-Star. Yeah, I mean maybe three-time All-Star and one-time finishing in the top 10 MVP voting. He's best known for being one of the players received by the Mariners in the Randy Johnson trade. So Nick, who is that guy?
Oh, is that um Carlos Guillen?
That is our good friend Carlos Guillen.
All right.
Um, Most people remember him with the Tigers more than the Mariners because when he went to Detroit, he really kind of blew up.
Yeah.
But he was really solid in Seattle. He was part of that crazy '01 team, but his career absolutely exploded when he got to Detroit.
Well, Detroit had some good teams that he was
I
on
did.
there. They had V-Mart and Placido
Yep.
Polanco, and I mean Cabrera was there, obviously. Like they had some
Yep.
great teams there.
There's
Yeah,
there's
nice.
there's John pulling it in the chat.
Yeah, I mean Verlander, Scherzer,
Yeah.
Anibal Sanchez. We've gone over that rotation
Oh yeah.
numerous times. Like they were loaded. Like that was a crazy good Tigers
Yeah.
team.
He went from one loaded team to another loaded team,
Yeah,
but really seemed to fit in better in Detroit. And I think his play style also just worked better there. He could hit up or down in the order and just do his thing. But career numbers wise, average of 285, 124 home runs, 660 RBIs, 27.7 WAR. A guy who was good with the glove, had a little bit of power, but could hit and could run. I mean, he did a lot of things well.
yep.
All right, moving on, Nick. Played for 17 seasons between 1995 and 2012. Played for the Red Sox, the Diamondbacks, the Royals, the Pirates, the Cardinals, the Brewers, and the Padres. He was a 2006 World Series champion, best known for being named MVP of the 2006 NLCS. Nick, who is that guy?
I don't think this is correct, but is it Jeff Suppan?
That is our good friend Jeff
Oh
Suppan.
my! I can't believe I pulled that one. Honestly, I
uh, I
I
figured
couldn't
because of the
believe it.
facial hair, you guys had like a kindred connection or something. But
No, I was thinking he was a different number. I have
oh
57 in my head for whatever reason, but
yeah, that's a great guess, Mr. Clams.
Chris Carpenter,
Not the pride of New Hampshire, Chris Carpenter. Yeah, so Jeff Suppan, career record 140 and 146, ERA of 4.7, 1,390 career strikeouts, 17.1 WAR. Um, Another
pretty sure
guy who was solid
pretty
but not
sure
remarkable.
yeah, pretty sure I have this baseball card somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I remember these
Pretty
these
sure.
tops cards. I had a bazillion of this
Oh, yeah.
generation of tops card.
Oh,
But
for sure.
yeah, Jeff Suppan, who came up with the Red Sox, was there for a few years. I remember him as a Red Sox briefly, but I really think of him as a Cardinal because that's where he had most of his success.
Yeah, like I don't have him in my head as a Red Sox at all. That's what kind of threw me off.
They're calling foul on this.
So I actually do, but I haven't looked at these. We do, me and Harrison do a really good job because we share the slideshow, but we don't look at the trivia. Like, and we yell at each other before, like, don't scroll down in the
Yeah.
presentation. So I haven't looked, I promise. But the Red
Yeah.
Sox threw me off, but and I Diamondbacks, but I'm with you. It's Cardinals and a little bit of Brewers for me that I think I remember it. But that was like my sweet spot in baseball too.
Yeah.
Was probably when he was with those two teams.
Yeah. So for me, it's Cardinals Royals. I remember with the Royals, but I don't remember. I remember the Red Sox briefly, but oh, Samsonite, I was way off. Yeah. Swimmy, Swami, Swanson. Oh, Samsonite, that was way off.
Yeah.
The great, if you know what we're talking about, you are clearly from our generation.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, Nick.
Good one.
Played for 17 seasons between 1984 and 2001. Played for the Reds, Dodgers, Tigers, Orioles, Cardinals, and Giants. Two-time All-Star, three-time Gold Glove winner, two-time Silver Slugger. Best known for being the only player to have 49 home runs and 93 stolen bases over a 162 game span. They thought he was going to be the first 50-50 guy, first 50-100 guy. Nick, who is that guy?
Oh, that's a layup.
It is a layup, but I had to put it in there because he's a
Oh,
guy that continues to, he's somebody that everybody should know.
yeah, that's Eric Davis.
That is absolutely Eric Davis.
Yep. That
Um,
he was such like he's almost like a what if guy because I think he got injured too um a little bit in his career, but they definitely 50 and 100 was definitely thrown out there.
yeah,
Crazy power, crazy speed.
Eric Davis was the prior generation's Mike Trout.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah, Eric Davis. And honestly, I put so obviously this is not like a super hard guy to guess. Although I put this in here because I was in one of those baseball groups and somebody had posted some stats about Eric Davis and some of his story about the colon cancer and all that, beating colon cancer, coming back. And there were so many people that were like, "Who's that?" in the comments. I'm like, I'm not letting the legend of Eric Davis die. We're bringing
Oh
it
my
back.
god. That's brutal.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Injuries. I mean, he was this past generation's Mike Trout. He was
Yeah.
unreal. He could
See,
run, he
Miss
could throw, he could hit.
Yeah, see, this description right here, Mr. Clams, is exactly how I describe Jacob DeGrom right now.
Yep.
Right? Like his talent is almost supersedes what his body can handle, which like kind of blows your mind to think about. But Jacob DeGrom was so good that his body just couldn't handle it. Like, I mean, that which it's weird. It's kind of an oxymoron a little bit, but yeah, they just couldn't hang up. But yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, what
imagine that
just
50 and 100 would have been nuts.
I mean, yeah, I mean, he would have been your first 50-50 guy if he didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, 40 and he had two stretches of time where he had nearly 50 and nearly 100.
Yeah, see, I'm with you here,
Oh
Captain.
yeah.
Like, I think Eric Davis, I think Reds, that's it. End of story. But yeah,
Yeah,
he's what we were just talking about earlier.
and the hard part for Davis is once he started to get hurt, like he didn't stay anywhere very long. It was, Detroit for a couple of years, then he had the cancer battle, then it was Cincinnati, then it was Cincinnati for a year, back to Cincinnati for a year, 2 years in Baltimore, 2 in St. Louis, 1 in San Fran. He was just trying to hang on, and he just
Yeah.
wasn't great anywhere.
Yeah. Shame.
That's
Shame.
honestly, I was horrified, John. I immediately added them to my list of players for this because you cannot let this next generation of baseball, I'm going to say fan loosely, not know who Eric Davis is. Like that was crushing.
Yeah.
But all
Dang.
right, moving on. But I had to do that just to preserve Eric Davis. All right, played for 11 seasons between 2004 and 2014. Played for the Mets, Padres, Marlins, Diamondbacks, Rays. Three-time All-Star, two-time Rolaids reliever of the year. Best known for his sliding skills. Nick, who is that guy?
I knew who it was just from the last one.
I like adding the best knowns in there because sometimes the ones that are harder, it gives you a
Yeah.
little boost.
This is Hell's Bells. This is Heath Bell.
This is absolutely big Heath Bell, and I included the Diamondbacks card just for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Uh, Heath Bell, career record of 38 and 32, 3.49 ERA, 168 saves, and 7.1 WAR. For anybody that doesn't understand the sliding skills joke, Heath Bell would come running in from the bullpen and slide into the mound like he was going into second base, and then
Yeah.
pop up and warm up.
Yeah.
There you go, Mr. Clams got him. He was he was fun to watch. He was electric. He threw pretty hard. He threw a couple of just like nasty breaking pitches, but just did not last very long. Did not hold up very well. But he was entertaining, as you can see by the picture on this baseball card. Like he was pure energy, and it was like a frenzy out there when he came on the mound.
Didn't he do that in the All-Star game? He like came in and when he slid, he like dug up like a
Yeah,
huge chunk of the infield. Like just like a
took a
massive
divot.
divot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He a few times he did that. He'd slide in
Yeah.
and get like a cleat stuck and take a divot.
Yeah. I'm
But
sure
he
the
would come in
grounds
at
crew
100
loved
miles
that.
an hour and slide right into the mound, and it was
Yeah.
it was a sideshow.
I'm sure the grounds crew loved that every time that the manager called the bullpen. They saw Heath Bell up on the mound. They're like, oh, here we go. Got to
Yeah,
replace some sod tomorrow.
yeah. We're gonna be patching some grass tomorrow.
Oh, man.
But he
Great
was really
one.
good in San Diego, and then he kind of bounced around. But
Yeah. Yeah. That's, again, another guy that I think of a name and it's bang. It's San Diego. And that's it.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, his career, he wasn't anywhere for very long, also. But San Diego was
Mm,
really where he kind of made his mark.
yeah.
Because he was in San Diego for 5 years, with the Mets for 3, Miami for 1, Arizona for 1, Tampa for 1. He was terrible everywhere but San Diego,
Yeah.
and he was negative WAR everywhere else but San Diego. He was an 8.6 WAR in San Diego, and then negative everywhere else,
Wow.
because he didn't hold up very well.
Yeah. That's a good one,
Uh,
too.
and that's it.
Oh,
That's it for tonight.
nice. Nice. Those are fun to do.
I I
Absolutely.
I love them. I love putting them together, and I do I do think, from what we've seen from the reels on our page, I do think people like them, because it is fun to
Yeah.
try to think back to who that player might have been.
Yeah.
He,
Yeah. The best known fours are definitely funny.
yeah,
Yeah.
he hated the Mets for giving up on him. It was tough. I mean, he didn't perform, but he was one of those guys that, like, after the success in San Diego, he just just couldn't find it again.
Yeah.
Just couldn't find it again.
Which that's a lot of guys. It's a lot of relievers. They get comfortable in one spot and then just don't they can't find it once they leave or they get shipped out or signed somewhere else. Like it's crazy. That's what
Yeah,
makes baseball so unique and crazy.
yeah.
But
And he started with the Mets. His first 3 seasons were with the Mets, just working out of the bullpen. He wasn't even a closer. He was just working out of the bullpen, and he was not terribly effective. An ERA over 5, and they dumped him, and the Padres picked him up as a reclamation project. He pitched progressively better and better, and then saved 42 games in '09, 47 in 2010, 43 in 2011, and then went to Miami, and he was over 5 again, saved 19. Then went to Arizona, over 4, saved 15, and then went to Tampa Bay, was over 7 ERA in
uh,
17 innings, and was gone. The fall off was fast.
yeah, dang. All right. Well, I just found this kind of pretty cool tool on Baseball Reference, and I'm going to throw a couple trivia questions back at you.
Oh, cool.
So I'm going to give you 3 franchises, and you have to name me a player that's played for all 3.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So Arizona Diamondbacks, the Athletics, and the Red Sox. There are 9 batters that have done it. Can you name me any?
Red Sox, Diamondbacks, Athletics. So did Shea Hillenbrand go to all 3?
Oh, that's a good guess. He's not on there. He went
Just 2 of
Diamondbacks,
them.
Red Sox.
Jed Lowry went Red Sox, A's.
Yep.
Um, Red Sox, A's, Diamondbacks. That's an interesting connection.
Mm-hmm. One is a president of a team right now. Oh, and he pitched. I don't know why he's under the batting one. That's weird. Oh, because he hit in the
Oh,
National League.
right. He would have gotten at
That's
bats in the National League.
right. But he's the president right now of one of those three organizations.
Oh, is it the guy in Arizona?
Nope.
What?
For our
Oh,
Red
Breslow.
Sox,
Craig Breslow.
Breslow. Yep.
Yep. Eric
Eric.
Burns in the chat. Did Burns play with
That's
the
a
Red Sox?
good guess. No, Burns never did with the Red Sox. That's a good guess, though. He hit the Diamondbacks in
Oh,
athletics.
Kevin Millar.
Nope, not Millar.
Did Daniel Nava end up in either of those places?
Nope. Think shortstop.
That's where I'd gone with
Think
Lowry. Alex Gonzalez. No, he wouldn't have gone to.
no.
Say Hanley was only Florida.
The shortstop came up with the Diamondbacks, then went to the Red Sox, and then probably athletics after that.
Crosby? No,
Nope.
it was the other way around.
Mm-hmm. He had a brother that played for the Red Sox too.
Oh, is it Stephen Drew?
Stephen Drew played for all three.
I don't think it's Stephen Drew with the A's. Like I don't recall that at all.
Yeah.
Wow.
This one you should probably get. He was a right fielder. I think he ended his career with the Astros, but he started with the A's, came to
Oh, Reddick?
oh no, yeah, Reddick. He started with the Red Sox, went to the A's, and then to the Diamondbacks after in 2021 after the Astros.
Yeah, I
stretch.
don't remember the D-backs, but I can see that.
Yep. So other names on this list: Ryan Cook. I think he was a pitcher because
I was gonna say
he's
who?
got one at bat. Connor Jackson. Then we
Huh.
got Cody Ross,
Oh, yeah.
Chris Young, and Brad Ziegler.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool.
All right, let's throw a couple more. Those are fun.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's go. I'm just gonna go completely random here.
I love it.
All right. Cubs, Rockies, Twins.
Wow. Wow, we went really off the rails on that one.
I literally just hit the arrow and clicked on a team.
Cubs, Rockies, Twins.
And I would think you could get two of these guys legit on here. One was a pitcher, a two-word pitcher. You could definitely get him too. And the other guy also played for the Red Sox at one point. I actually brought his name up earlier in the show when I was talking about Mariano Rivera.
Oh, Todd Walker.
Yeah, Todd Walker played for all three. So he started with the Twins, went to the Rockies, and then had the Red Sox years, and then went to the Cubs from 04 to 06.
Because one of the guys I was wondering was Jock Jones one of those, but
Ooh, that's a good guess, but no, because Jones played for the Cubs and Twins, I think. I don't think.
I don't get the Rockies. The Rockies is the tough connection because that limits the history too, because they've only been around for so long.
Yep. This guy, starting pitcher, you definitely have heard him from 95 to
LaTroy Hawkins. It's got to be LaTroy Hawkins, right?
It is LaTroy Hawkins. Nice job, Mr. Clams. Yeah, that's
the only other
guy
name. The only other name I thought of was like a Brad Radke because he moved around a lot too.
Yep. Then another guy, I picture him as a Cardinal mostly. Came up with Atlanta in 2000, ended his career in 2015 with the Reds. But I remember him for the 04 St. Louis series. That's where I remember.
Like an Aaron Harang or
I mean, a pitcher like that for sure.
Ooh.
I don't know how else to explain him.
Mark McLemore. That's a good guess. Mark McLemore.
That's a good guess. Yeah, not Mark McLemore.
I remember McLemore more with the Rangers.
This guy had 124 wins, 118 losses in his career. There was definitely a marquee matchup with him in the 2004 World Series with the Red Sox.
Oh, is this like a John Francis? Not John Francis.
I literally just gave you the answer when I
I
gave
know,
you
and I
that
was reading the
last
chat. I
quote.
was reading chat, and I and I totally missed it.
I said there was I said he had a marquee matchup in 2004 with the Red Sox.
He had a marquee matchup with the Red Sox?
Uh-huh. It's Jason Marquis.
Oh, jeez. I'm like, Marquee had a marquee matchup. Like who?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jason Marquis.
Oh
So
God.
that was a good one.
LaTroy Hawkins did pitch for everybody.
Yep, that's a great one. Let's go. All
Mark
right, we'll go.
McLemore was a highly underrated guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's go. Hmm. And why not?
Why not?
All right. We got Pirates, Rays, and Royals.
Oh, good lord. Okay.
You could get a lot of. I mean, there's one name that you could say that he's been on a different team the last 6 years. You could definitely get it.
Hunter
And
Renfro.
he actually tossed Sean a ball in Washington, or
Oh,
tried
Tommy
to.
Pham.
Tommy Pham, yeah,
Tommy Pham's been on every team.
yep, for sure.
Nelson Cruz, because he's also been on every team.
Not Nelson Cruz, but Juan Cruz.
Oh yeah. Or Juan Cruz.
Relief pitcher known for his glasses or slash goggles, maybe, and he
Oh, is
was
it
like
Farnsworth?
Farnsworth. Yep.
Yeah. Farnsworth was nuts.
Um, let's see. Oh wow, really? Huh. I guess I never would have guessed
Did
that.
Freddie Sanchez play for all three?
That's a good guess. No. Let's. I mean, probably the guy that got bat flips back on the map.
Joey Bats?
Yeah, shocked me.
What?
So
Really? When the hell was he in all those places?
2004, he was with the Royals for 13 games, the Rays for 12,
Oh, jeez.
and then on the Pirates from '04 to '08.
Yeah, I remember the Pirates, but I didn't remember the other two. But of course, I wouldn't if you only played 25 total games between the two of them. Jamie
He
Moyer,
Jamie Moore.
Mike Sweeney. That's a good one. Definitely a well-known Royal.
Yeah, I don't think he played for anybody else though, did he? I think he was
Tom
just
Hankey.
only a Royal. Tom Henke? No, that's a great guess, but not him.
That's a good guess.
Um, this guy, I don't know if you'd get this guy. I remember him being a White Sox, but from 91 to '07, he was a pitcher. Roberto Hernandez.
Oh, I remember Roberto. I
Yep.
don't remember him with. I mean, I remember pitching with everybody, but I remember him mostly as a Ray.
Yeah. All right, we'll do one more here. Let's
Let's
see.
let's do another.
Let's go there, there, and there. Huh. I'm gonna click this button. Find players who have played only for these franchises.
Ooh.
And that would be nobody. All right, so we're gonna uncheck that
Well, that
one.
didn't work.
All right. Marlins, Reds, and Brewers.
Lyle Overbay.
No. Great guess though. Let's see. We got
Is
a
it
catch.
Marlins, Reds, Brewers?
Marlins, Reds, Brewers. Yep.
CJ? Did Charles Johnson play for those three?
No. Good guess. We have a shortstop also played for the Red Sox at one point.
Oh, is
Played for
that
the
Alex Gonzalez?
Alex Gonzalez. Yep.
Guessed him early with the wrong sequence of teams.
Oh, there's a guy that 4 home run guy on this list.
Cameron?
Mike Cameron. Yes, good. Well, I completely forgot about that guy. 91 to '01. I don't think you'll ever get it. Ricky Bones.
Wasn't it Bonus? Wasn't that what it was pronounced? It wasn't
It
Bones?
it, it might have been. It's spelt Bones, but
Yeah.
and then this guy was a catcher. You'll definitely like when you hear the name, you'll be like, oh yeah. But 98 to '09 played for again everybody.
Cervelli?
Nope. Chicago for 2 years, Braves for 2 years, Astros for 2 years. Then Cincinnati, Detroit, Milwaukee, Baltimore, Florida, Royals, Phillies, Dodgers.
All
Whew.
those teams in 9 years, you said?
Uh, yeah.
Holy crap.
Well, 12 years, 98 to 09.
Yeah, that's like a
It's
wow.
yeah.
I have no idea.
He batted left, he threw right, obviously as a catcher, but it's Paul Bacco.
Oh, I remember the name, but I would never have placed him there.
No. And
Oh,
then
Bogey Reese, that's a good one.
that is a good one. And then this
Love
guy
Bogey
was
Reese.
known as like a career pinch hitter, not John Vanderwall.
So, lots of the one
But
guy.
he's
Oh,
but
Jason
he's
Isringhausen.
ooh, good guess. No, he wasn't on the list. But this guy went from 88 to 05. And when you talk about pinch hitters, his name always comes up. As I think he's got the most
Oh,
pinch hits.
like a Matt Stairs?
Not Matt Stairs. Johnny Cash, he's been
Johnny
everywhere,
Cash,
man.
he's been everywhere, man. Yeah, you're gonna say a name and I'm gonna be mad that I don't get it because there were a few
Yeah,
guys in that era that were just pinch hitters.
yep. Definitely. It's Lenny Harris.
Oh yeah.
hmm
Yep.
And then some other names you might know: Burke Badenhop and Ron Balone.
Oh, good old Ron Valone.
Yeah, good old lefty. Hmm.
All right, one more,
Those
Nick.
are
One more.
all right. One more.
One more.
Now that I found this, I might have to bookmark this and
This is fun. Oh, Lenny Harris.
yeah.
Mr. Clams got it.
Oh, nice. All right, let's
Oh, Wally Jr.
go.
That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Mm, let's go. Haven't done that team yet, and we haven't done what else? Which team haven't we done yet? Let's see. All right. Rangers, Tigers, and Blue Jays.
Ooh. Rangers, Tigers, Blue Jays. Okay. Mark
A guy. Nope. There is a guy that you just guessed for pinch hitting that is on this list though.
Matt Stairs.
Matt Stairs. Yeah, 06 for the Rangers, 06 for the Tigers, and then 07, 08 for the Blue Jays.
Okay.
Um,
Donaldson.
No, Donaldson, I think only played for the Blue Jays there. I don't think he ever played for
Oh,
the
that's right. 'Cause
Rangers
he
or
he
Tigers.
came from Oakland, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. He wasn't in Texas. He was in Oakland.
We've talked about this reliever before too, about the stupid shooting the arrow.
Oh, yeah, the crooked hat, right?
Yep.
Oh my God, what's his name? We got some guesses coming in the chat.
Pat
Borders,
Borders, nope. Tony
Tony
Phillips,
Phillips.
no.
Oh my
Those
goodness,
are...
Francisco
Oh no,
Rodney.
no, it's not Francisco Rodney.
Oh,
So I had the arrow thing wrong because I think you're right. I think he did the arrow, unless I don't know. I picture this guy mostly on Detroit for sure.
Joel Zumaya, Guitar Hero.
Nope. Another good guess. No, it's Joaquin Benoit.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, he had his own interesting mannerisms.
Yep. Oh, I forgot this guy even existed. From 97 to 2010, I remember him mostly as a Ranger myself. He was a left fielder, second baseman, first baseman. Batted left. That was a tough one. Frank Catalanato.
Oh yeah, good old Frankie C.
Yep.
Oh,
This guy caught for the Red Sox. One of the
Kinsler.
longest last names ever. Ian
Oh,
Kinsler is a good guess.
Saltalamacchia.
Yep. Kinsler never played for the Blue Jays. That's a good guess, though. He's not on this list. Yeah, Saltalamacchia. 07 to 2010 with the Rangers, 2016 to 18 with the Tigers, and 2017 with the Blue Jays. How the heck does that work? He must have started with the Blue Jays, went back to the Tigers in that stretch, I guess.
Strange.
Weird. Let's see. Who else do we got? Mark Lowe. Nope. Drew
No.
Hutchinson. Jason Grilly.
Oh, all right.
Jason Grilly
There
played
are
for
so many
all three.
relievers in those 90s that just
Yeah,
bounce
just
around
bounced
everywhere.
around. Oh, and then this guy you should totally get. Switch hitter. Outfield mostly, probably DH towards the end of his career. Um, I picture him mostly as a Ranger because he spent 10 years there off and on throughout his career from 86 to 2006. So played for a long time.
Just like a Franco or a Sierra.
Ruben Sierra.
Ruben, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice job. Yeah. Franco wasn't a switch hitter. So,
Oh, that's right. That's right. He was not.
but
I
yeah.
almost said Ruben Sierra earlier, but I'm like, I don't think he played for all those teams. But he
Oh,
played for a lot of places.
and we're missing a very obvious pitcher that's played for all three.
Texas, Detroit. Oh, Scherzer.
Scherzer. Yep.
Duh.
So 2025 joins that list this
Should have
year.
jumped on that one right away.
Yeah. And then another one that you would know is Joaquim Soria.
Oh yeah, another reliever.
Yeah. And for Francisco Cordero, another pitcher.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like the relief pitchers definitely just
Yeah,
freaking
I don't remember any of those guys. They were
No.
just interchangeable.
Yep.
There was hundreds of those guys in the 90s and early 2000s just bounced around.
Oh, yeah, and there's no way you're gonna ever.
Nope.
All right, last one.
All right. one more.
These
We're
are
like an addict, Nick. One more.
these are awesome. All right.
These are awesome.
Nationals, Guardians, Angels.
Oh. Nationals, Guardians, Angels. Okay.
Now this also counts Expos as well, just to kind of.
Oh.
So there's one name that probably should stick out of everybody else on this list.
Ellis Burks?
No.
Not Dawson.
Not Dawson, no.
Rains?
Think pitcher. He was the oldest guy to ever hit his first career home run.
Oh my goodness, who was it? It's not Moyer.
No, it's not Moyer.
Our favorite Moyer. Oh, Cologne?
Yes, Bartolo Colon. Yeah, as the Expos before they moved. Then the Guardians and the Angels.
Say Vlad's a good guess, just doesn't have the Guardians.
Yeah. Oh wait, he never played. Yeah, he did. 2002. When did Montreal move? 04? 03?
Yes. In that window. Big sexy. Richie Sexton?
No, Sexton's a good one now. Yeah,
No.
the Expos moved in 2004. So yeah, he was on the Expos for 2002.
Okay. Yeah, I've always loved Bartolo Colon being referred to as Big Sexy.
Oh, for sure.
It's like when the Red Sox had El Guapo.
Yep. The round pound of sound. I like that one.
Cologne got better as he got heavier.
Right? It's crazy. This is a picture you definitely might know.
All right, so we got off topic there for a second. So what are the three teams again?
Nationals, Angels, and Guardians.
Okay.
AKA Indians. This guy started in Seattle in 84, ended his career in 99 with Cleveland as a starting pitcher. Accumulated 179 wins.
This like Charles Nagy or
I mean, you're on the right track with that.
Not Nope.
I picture him mostly with the Angels because it was like him and lefty there. Why am I blanking on his name?
Finley or
Steve Finley. It was like him and him back to back, 1-2. Chuck Finley, good guess, but his number 2 behind him.
Yeah, who else? Who was it?
I'm glad I'm on this side because there's no way I'd be pulling these names.
Not like a Daryl Kyle or a Denny Nagel or
Mm-mm.
who else in that era?
I don't know if this will give it away, but his initials are ML.
Mark Langston?
Mark Langston.
Okay.
Nice. Yep. Mark Langston. Nice pull. Even with the initials, I don't know if I would have gotten that one. But like
Oh,
definitely,
John
obviously no.
John got it.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Nice job,
And
John.
then this one you'll definitely get. He was a huge part of the trade that made the Red Sox successful in '04.
Oh, so this is the Derek Lowe, Jason Varitek trade?
No, no, no.
Oh, the
It was
Nomar trade.
the
Orlando
Nomar
Cabrera?
trade. Orlando Cabrera. Yep. He was an Expo from 97 to '04, Guardian in 2011,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Angels for 2005, 2007.
Yeah, I did not remember the Guardians
I didn't
or
either.
the
I mean,
Indians.
one. Another guy I definitely remember as an Angel for sure. Mostly, but remember him in '94 on that really, really freaking good World Series Expos team, or should have been World Series team. Starting pitcher, really tall guy, like built, right-handed pitcher. Played for the Cardinals, the Expos in that stretch. Cleveland for just a brief time, and then the Angels pretty much to finish off his career.
Really tall guy built.
Mm-hmm. And was on that '94 Expos team that was disgusting.
That was loaded.
Yeah. I don't really know if that was a great description of him, but
I mean, it is. I cannot. I can vaguely picture you talking about, but I can't think of who it is.
he was a one-time All-Star in surprise, surprise, '94.
Yeah.
He was already 16-5 before the strike.
Oh
Dang.
my goodness.
Yeah. It's Ken Hill.
Oh, that's not a name
Yeah.
I've heard in a while.
Yeah, right? Yeah, Ken Hill. But
That's pretty cool.
yeah, man, there's some.
I
Oh,
gotta go look him up because I want to. Oh yeah,
all
I
right.
remember Ken Hill.
All right. So we have a current Red Sox that has also played for all three of these teams.
A current member of the Red Sox has played
Yeah,
for all those teams. Okay.
yes, but he has not pitched for the Red Sox yet. And we signed him at the beginning of last year.
Oh, Liam Hendricks.
Nope. The other pitcher we signed that doesn't pitch.
Giolito.
Giolito came up with
Man,
Washington in 2016 and then went to Anaheim and then pitched for Cleveland in 2023. And that's how we ended up getting his free agent deal after that.
yeah. Oh, that's a good
But
question,
yeah,
John. Isn't Ken a pitching coach now? Is Ken Hill a pitching coach?
I don't know. We can look it up real quick.
So I don't recall.
He's no. I don't know. I don't see anything on it.
Yeah, I don't. I don't see him listed anywhere, but
Doesn't mean he's not.
I
I mean,
say
there's a
totally
lot
could
of
be.
those. There's a lot of those former players that are like, team ambassadors or whatever, and they
Yeah,
like.
or
I mean,
they're instructors, or you just
right?
don't see them a lot, but they're around.
Yeah, yeah. So that is awesome. I am definitely going to make some trivia questions out of those because those are incredible. Love those. Those are fun because there's literally
Yeah, that was cool.
infinite enough like amount of teams that I can just like mix in there.
Oh, and did you know that Ken Hill actually pitched in '95 as a member of the Indians when they went to the World Series?
Oh, all right.
I had no idea. Ken Hill is actually now a motorcycle coach. He teaches people how to motorcycle race.
Oh, pitching, motorcycle, same thing.
Yeah, I mean, those are the same thing.
Yeah,
Sure. Oh,
it's awesome. Yeah, it's cool because you can do even like up to 4 different franchises in this little tool.
you could even just you could do 2 and get a bigger list and go crazy.
Yeah,
That was fun.
yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, adding the bookmark right now. That's cool. All right. Well, keep your eye out on the
Oh,
page for that because those are going to be added for sure.
yeah, there's
Love
no
that.
doubt. No doubt.
All right. Do you have anything else? I mean, that was a nice little half-hour tangent. But do you have anything else to add from this week before we end the show?
So, I love to talk about TV deals and Major League revenue because it's fun. So, I think it's worth bringing this up. So, um, MLB. So obviously we know where MLB is with TV deals. They want to eventually bring everything back in house, look for a national deal, utilize MLB TV. Um, but currently, MLB is floating the idea around of licensing MLB TV. So in effect, having somebody else operate it, having it tied into a bigger streaming service, like making it embedding it into something like a Hulu or a Netflix as an add-on that comes with all those subscribers. Because what MLB is seeing is the fact that getting to all baseball fans as a standalone product is going to be hard. Whereas if you can build that in as an add-on to an already large installed subscriber base like a Netflix or a Hulu or a Disney Plus or might be a faster way to
It's
reach the masses.
it's what NFL Sunday Ticket does. It's what NHL Center Ice does. It's what everybody
Yep.
else already does. NBA was it? I don't even know what theirs is. What is it? NBA
Yeah,
tip off or
something.
NBA something like season pass or something like that. I mean, it's the smart way to go. Like if you add that onto YouTube TV as a package, then it makes
Yeah.
sense to do it that way.
Yeah. So it looks like they're exploring maybe some licensing options as a way to just spread the distribution out and get in front of more people. But either way, they are full speed ahead to developing MLB TV as their primary platform, and then continuing to find ways to package up, a larger national deal if they can, or just find different regional partners to try to clean up the mess that's been created by all these different relationships and the blow up of the Bally Sports, Diamond Sports as they try to recover from all this
Yeah.
disastrous TV stuff. But there are still 5 teams that do not have TV deals, and MLB is actually handling the broadcast and streaming. That's the Guardians, the Twins, the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the Rockies. I mean, you have 3 of your probably 15 best teams in baseball that don't have TV deals. Um,
Yeah.
and no local provider, no regional provider. MLB is actually handling them and broadcasting them and streaming them, uh, because this is such a mess. So you've got we know they've had they've had TV deal issues. They want to go this route. MLB is now looking for some shortcuts to try to make that easier.
Dang. Yeah. I mean, I think it would be smart to definitely attach it to somebody, some other streaming service already, and then just, offer the package as an extra. I mean, that seems to be the smartest. And then you're only blacking them out from one market,
Yep.
right? Because like for my instance, if you attach it to my YouTube TV, you just black out my Braves because Braves show up on my quote unquote cable package, but the other teams don't. So I wouldn't be blacked out of them. I think that would also kind of help with a blackout issue
Yep.
as well.
Yep. And as a kind of an homage to our 207 show, I thought this was really cool to share, Nick. So a a former St. Joseph's College alum, Jesse LaCase, who makes bats here in
Hmm.
Maine. He's the founder and owner of Maine Billets. So, did you know that the torpedo bats are manufactured by Maine Billets in Maine? Um, so, the original
Really?
bats the Yankees used were actually made by Jesse LaCase right here in Maine.
That's crazy. Yeah, you want to talk about? I'll have to see if I can reach out to him. So I played college ball with Jesse LaCase. This kid could hit a ball a
Yep.
country mile. I've never seen balls hit like he hit. I mean, he would hit balls that you were just like, oh, that's an infield pop up, and somehow they just travel 470 feet. I mean, he would just hit absolute tanks. Um, but then after college, he started the bat making. That's cool. I did not
Yeah,
know
so
that
what's
about him.
cool is
That's
the
cool.
Yankees reached out to Jesse LaCase back in May of 2023 with the original design that Aaron Lenhart had created at MIT. Maine Bill produced them, they tested them, and as they took off now they're making them again. But they had made the original bats, they were tested, it kinda all went quiet, and then all of a sudden it was boom, they exploded, and now they're making them as fast as they can. But I put a link in the
Yeah.
chat to the story. Yeah. If the Mariners can't hit with the torpedo bat, then it
That's fun.
really is them.
Yeah,
But yeah, so Jesse
that's funny.
LaCase right here in Maine is actually
Wow.
is the guy that made the original torpedo bats and is making a lot of the torpedo bats being used today.
Wow. I'll have to check that out. I didn't see that.
Yeah,
That's
this
really
article
cool.
came out, yes, it was yesterday. I completely forgot to send you the link,
Nice.
but it's cool. And, they're
That's
and
awesome.
they're not the only ones making them by any means, like, other people are making them too, but,
Right.
um,
Yeah, isn't I think
yeah,
Victus
Victus is
too,
making them.
right?
Yep.
Victus Bat Companies.
And
Yeah.
and what's funny is that the Portland Sea Dogs have also put in an order for these bats, they wanna try them.
Well, yeah. I mean, why not? It's a
Yep.
shiny new toy.
Well, and Madison High School, which is where Jesse's from, they're using torpedo bats. So at least yeah,
They're using wood?
these things are everywhere.
Huh. Well, I mean, honestly, I don't know if you've hit with a BB core bat, a metal BB core
Oh,
bat.
they're awful.
They're dead. Like, I would rather hit with wood at that point. But the thing with high school though is like you're going to be going through wooden bats like crazy because kids are going to be getting sawed off, they're breaking. It's more economical to buy metal bats so they don't break,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah.
But I think you will see more teams go to
Yeah,
wood
so
though.
talking to one of
That's
these high
cool.
school kids, and the comment was, "The difference is astonishing. It feels heavy when you first use it, but then you start swinging it, it's just so balanced." And this kid goes on to say, "For me, I've always been more of a contact guy than a power hitter, but with how big the barrel is, I really get under it and hit really solid line drives, staying gap to gap." So these kids are hitting them in the batting cages and actually considering taking them out onto the field because they actually feel better than the metal bats. But yeah,
Wow.
so I dropped the link in the chat. It's cool because so you've got Dovetail Bats here in Maine who makes bats for a lot of major leaguers, and you also have Jesse LaCase's Maine Billets, who's also he's done a lot more kind of
Yeah.
custom bats and minor league type stuff. He's blowing up on the scene with these bats.
I mean, let's be honest. There's plethora of wood in Maine. I mean, it's
No,
all
it's
sticks up
Nick.
there. So like
Maine is all high
legit.
rises and mean people. Don't come here. Don't Nobody should come here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Facts. My bad. The weather in the
I know
summer
it's
is
awful.
terrible too, so don't go. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool. I didn't know that. I'll have to see if I can. I mean, he's probably crazy busy, but it'd be cool to get
yeah.
him
Say
on
we
here and
should definitely
talk
reach out to Jesse and
if
see if he'd come
that's
chat
possible.
torpedo bats with us. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool. But all right, anything
That's it.
else? All right. Well, as always, everybody in the chat, you guys were awesome. Thanks for playing that little game with us at the end. That was kind of cool and impromptu. So Um, pretty awesome. But we will be back on Sunday with our Boston show at 8, our regular show at 9. Regular show is going to have ton of trivia. I have it already done and ready to go for Sunday. and then plus all the news from around the league. So join us then. And till then, enjoy some baseball this weekend.